Welcome to FireRescue1's Extra Alarm, your audible source of original content from FireRescue1. This is Mark Bayshore, and I'll be the voice of this content for you. Listen to FireRescue1 content when you're out and about, driving to or from work, when you're looking for some alone time at the station, or during your career development time. And yes, we should all set aside some time each week for learning opportunities. Make sure to listen to the end, because I'll be sharing my insights on the topic as well. Let's get started. Fire service pruning. Make way for fresh ideas, technology, and practices. Just like an overgrown rose bush, if your department policies, procedures, and practices have not been evaluated for efficiency, you will experience a lack of growth in all areas. That's the premise from Eric Latimer, a Division Chief of Fire Operations for the Springfield, Missouri Fire Department. Spring is here, and it's a perfect time to start pruning your rose bushes to allow for vibrant flowers that will turn your neighbors' heads as they walk by. Pruning eliminates old and less productive stems to allow for new growth as the rose bush ages. It's important to acknowledge that while there are several ways to utilize pruning shears, you must focus on where you cut so that you do not damage the main stem and stunt future growth. Pruning will enhance more substantial primary stem growth, allowing a fuller plant and new branches and buds to prosper. In the same spirit of promoting growth, it is important that we look at areas within our own organization that can be pruned like a rose bush. Each organization is comprised of numerous policies, procedures, directives, programs, personnel, and other areas that can be viewed as branches of a rose bush. The organization's mission is the main stem that allows for growth and vibrant service to the community. Why we need to prune. While the status quo is seen as the default, some organizations continue to use the same practices and programs implemented several years ago, despite advances in technology, understanding, and awareness, sparking questions as to whether the department is truly meeting the needs of its community. This is why continuous evaluation is crucial. It's not about change for the sake of change, but rather about staying relevant and effective in a constantly evolving landscape. What to cut back? Many policies, procedures, and practices that don't make sense for the current environment are still in place because leaders have not taken the time to reevaluate their effectiveness in the face of new information, tools, or resources. So when deciding what and where to prune, consider the following. Outdated policies or partnerships. Some organizations' policies might be outdated or in conflict with a new collective bargaining agreement that has been implemented. Outdated or unsafe fireground practices. Some practices utilizing various techniques on a fire scene might no longer be applicable. The use of irrelevant or outdated tools. Evaluating if the tools on your apparatus are still essential and applicable to the current risks within your community. Just because we've always had them on there does not necessarily mean that they must stay on there. Areas that lack new technology. Utilizing the latest technology to help with staffing and scheduling might allow for better planning and communication throughout the organization. Outdated administrative practices. Review administrative decision-making to meet the organization's needs due to a changing workforce and today's staffing requirements. Once complete, a department's pruning results can lead to growth within the organization for succession planning, program enhancement, and service delivery. Furthermore, leaders should be mindful that several legacy practices and programs used in today's fire service might not be applicable due to the available new technologies or current needs. For instance, documenting staffing in spreadsheets or only on paper can be more labor-intensive than using one of the many staffing software programs available that are more intuitive and work with some records management system software programs. It's important to stress the need for modernizing practices, as this can lead to improved operational efficiency and better service delivery. Pruning can bring organizational practices up to current industry standards and practices. Additional notes on pruning. You should be pruning year-round, but in small sections, so that you can focus on certain branches to help those develop new buds. Each section of focus should have a leader in charge of the pruning process. as leaders are not just the implementers of change, but the architects of it. These leaders should communicate efficiently and effectively. Being a skilled communicator is essential, as it involves actively listening and answering questions with clarity. Hold institutional knowledge. Leaders should have knowledge of what they're pruning and be familiar with the current practices and standards. Remain adaptable and flexible. Leaders must be open to change and avoid the mindset of, well, this is how we've always done it. Sometimes leaders must ask themselves, why do we do this? Consider creative alternatives. Be the agent of change and think outside the box on items. Welcome opinions and ideas. As a leader, garnish input from the workforce and those behind the original program or practice. Once you've started the pruning process, you can't stop or you'll damage the branches. The idea is to start small and work your way into the main stem. Even small changes will make a massive difference within your organization. Prune now, bloom later. The goal of pruning within a fire department is to enhance your practices and culture to meet the needs of today's workforce as well as stakeholder needs. You can improve your service delivery to ensure that you're not duplicating efforts or wasting time on irrelevant outputs. Bottom line, a healthier workforce, safer equipment, improved communication, streamlined processes, and elevated programs are just a few ways that pruning makes an impact. Take your time, start at the edges of your organization, and work your way to the main stem to ensure your organization's mission is being met. Well, that sure is a timely article, not just for spring as far as pruning your rose bushes, but in looking at how to retool the fire department. And boy, this really does have some impact with respect to what's going on in Washington right now. I really like the part about making sure we don't focus on this is the way we've always done it, but focusing more on why do we do this? And while I think in practice that's a lot of what we want to see, I think in reality we're seeing whole branches being lopped off of programs that have made sense for years. And maybe we just need to ask why we're doing it, not just attacking it because that's the way we've always done it. Thanks for listening in today, and remember, you can find this article and many more on FireRescue1.com. This is Mark Bayshore asking you to keep safe, stay smart, and take care.